Okay.
My name's Tim from No Cover, and I'm here with Kevin Lyman. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Just suffering a little jet lag after the Warp Japan shows we just did. And
how did those go?
oh, super fun. You know, it's always good to go over to Japan, and it was fun because we had some of the bands like Pennywise and Suicidal Tendencies and some of the old friends we got to hang out on Sunday.
Oh, no way.
And then some of those bands that we might not see on Warp Tour in the U.S., Korn and Limp Bizkit, Prophets of Rage were all on the shows, and a lot of our friends in Japan.
In Japan?
You know, we have a lot of really cool bands like Crossfaith and Cold Rain who have played Warp Tour over there. So we had a great time. It was nice and a nice vacation, a little bit with the kids, and then back here and cranking it up for the summer.
How long does it usually take you to get accustomed back to West Coast time?
I just turned 57 yesterday, so.
Oh, happy birthday! I wanted to start it with that.
No problem. It's just like, but that's one of the things you start talking about is, you know, it's funny. My daughter, who flew home on Friday. She came out early because she had to go to Coachella to start Coachella. Like, went right there, like no problem. And that's how I used to be, like, you know. But now it takes me a few days and up at 1 o'clock in the morning. But now I just, you know, if it doesn't work, I just get up and work and then sleep when need to sleep and, you know, get back on track.
Nice. So you created the Warped Tour, and it's been monumentous. You know, it's been a staple for a lot of people's childhoods, including myself.
Yeah.
And it's a way to get the local communities together, celebrate music. What was the infant idea behind the Warped Tour?
I worked in LA it wasn't like I just woke up with it. It was, I worked in LA for 12 and a half years with Golden Voice. I ran all the shows in LA. I was running up to 320 shows a year as a production manager. And then I got the lucky chance by building relationships and working on that in 1991 to go out on Lollapalooza. The first Lollapalooza in 1991. Perry Farrell put that together. I'd worked a lot with Jane's Addiction and all the bands on that tour, and went out on the road with that. And then we were doing events. We were blending in where we were doing skateboarding and music, and snowboarding and music, board aid, boarding for breast cancer, lifestyle kind of shows. And then I heard about the X Games being formed, and that was going to bring what we were doing in Southern California to the forefront, I thought. And I thought for one last summer, it was really going to be one summer. That was the whole thing. It was going to be one summer. I was going to go out and do something with some friends, build a skateboard ramp, bring some bands. Those bands turned into like No Doubt and Sublime and, you know, L7, No Use for a Name, and some of those bands. And then go out and do it one last summer. Go out and have some fun. And now 24 years later, that part of the Warped Tour is going to be ending. We're doing our last cross-country tour. 2 months.
What does that mean? Because I know the wording is very specific.
Keeping it a little vague, you know.
Okay.
I think the Warped spirit, in some ways, we're working on some plans for the 25th anniversary. I know one of them is going to include the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and some events around the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We're keeping a little loose because we did have a cruise this year. We did the Warped Cruise. We did Warp Japan. There might be options to do some stuff. You know, you never want to close the door completely, but that part of that touring side of actually packing up, you know, almost 1,000 people and moving it a city day to day is coming to an end.
Do you feel that, or when you're doing this, and does this have anything to do with the decision? When you're in the heart of things, you know, from now till September, and when your phone rings, you're like, oh fuck, what happened now?
No, I'm out there every day, you know, and the way I've run my shows, and I've now been doing this for 37 years, I've been very, very involved in the shows.
Yes.
I used to load the trucks. I used to run the barricades. I built some of the first barricades that were ever used at shows. I'm sorry, I know a lot of kids hate barricades, but, you know, I saw a lot of people getting hurt, and when insurance issues came up, you know, I've been in the middle of it, and it's very physical. Going out at 57, my friends can't. That's why you don't see the old punk bands on Warped Tour. It's too hard on them. You know, it's physically a drain. You know, it was cool last year. The Adolescents came out and did it in a van. That was punk rock, doing the Warped Tour at their age in the van, and they did it. But a lot of it's the physical side. Like I want to have fun while I'm doing stuff. I've always had fun. It's been work to me, but I like to have fun. And the last couple summers have not been that fun physically and sometimes mentally. The world's kind of changed, you know? You know, the advent of social media in some ways, and watching bands kind of tear each other apart online, and people tear each other apart. Warp was a community. Warp was about being a community. And right now, I don't see that community as much with bands right now. And I understand things have changed. Bands don't sell CDs the same way. They have to tour all the time. But music's going to have to get back to this community, especially independent music. And to be honest, it gets a little frustrating for me. I'd be trying to have these discussions with other people that I respect in the music industry. And in some ways, I feel that, sometimes the music industry right now, everyone has their foot on the gas heading to a cliff. That if they don't learn how to support each other, that's what Warped Tour started as. It was bands taking a step back to move everyone forward. Bad Religion, Pennywise, No Effects, those kind of bands would take a step back and pull the young bands forward with them. Understandably, those bands could also make money on CDs back then. You'd make money on your music. So you knew that going out and playing more fans could help you sell more music. You would sell more music. You would get paid that way sometimes. So the touring, it was a balance. But now bands are forced to tour all the time. So sometimes every dollar they can squeeze out of touring overshadows 5-year plans. I don't see many bands with 5-year plans. I see most bands have a 6-month plan or an 8-month plan. They're just trying to pay the bills. And understand me, I think so many people in society are. We're just symptomatic of society in some ways. So we're just trying to get to the next, like we say, my saying is we're just trying to get to Friday.
Yeah. I'm noticing the same thing in my community. I'm a Ventura. A lot of, number one, support. If we all supported each other, whatever is on social media, a like, a share, supporting, going to shows, local shows, bands don't go out and support, but they expect everyone to.
Ventura. I just had a benefit show up there.
The fire benefit.
Super cool. Had a great time working with that. That was great to see that community pull together for that. You know, and we are pulling together in Ventura. We're going to be doing our cleanup day, our volunteer day.
What day?
We always do. It's going to be the day after the Ventura Warp Show.
Okay.
We're staying in town. We're going to stay at the fairgrounds, and we're going to clean up your river. The whole river basin that's full of trash now, and we're going to get in there and clean up the river for you guys, the Warp community. That's what we do.
Nice,
We all pull together, and I've always found that Ventura community pretty good. It's solid. JD and all those guys up there are my buddies.
We have the best music community in the world, in my opinion.
And they do support. It's a town that does support each other. But you get out there and bands start tearing each other down. And I've done some interviews where people are saying like, oh, it's going to be great when Warped Tour goes away. And I go, well,
for what?
I don't know. And I'm like, cool. If things get better because we go away, that's great. Now, if that means local bands are going to start supporting each other and stop tearing each other down and stop tearing each other down on the internet or whatever, fantastic. And then I've done my job. We were only supposed to be here 1 year. I was supposed to do this for 1 year. Quarter century later, we're still out here doing it. It's interesting. Ticket sales are on fire because we're taking it away. But where the people are coming, maybe this younger generation that fights online, or maybe they've chosen to stay in their rooms and Snapchat or watch Netflix and not go to live music. That's a challenge we are going to see.
And that's something we do. That's what we do too. I do a red light. I do a radio show. Right. The first, and we have nothing but local bands on. From San Diego to San Francisco, they all come to Ventura just to be on a radio show of ours. And that's our way to try to support the music community. So so I understand that, and I see what you see with the local bands. You're always feeling that they need to talk shit.
And it's talking shit. That's society as a whole.
Yeah.
We all talk shit to each other all day long.
And now we have a platform.
And
social media
music is one thing. Social media has given everyone a platform. It's one of those things that, 50% of the people. If I say it's a nice day to you, you could turn around and say, you have no right to say it's a nice day. How do you infringe your rights on me? It's no fucking. Oh, excuse me.
No, we can say.
It's not a good day, And then it's like this. Wait, I just said it was a good day.
I know.
So. And I'm just going to transform what Warped Tour has stood for into the things that I think are most important right now. Philanthropy and education. We're going to continue with all those nonprofits that we've built. We are going to continue with the education side of what we've built. And I just need to exert my energy into that kind of stuff. Music will always be part of my life. But it's and it's getting harder to I never wanted to be that person that I, it's hard for, and so many people get stuck in their music, and I think that's where a lot of the negativity comes from. It's funny, we say something online and people go, the Warped Tour sucks, this. I always look at it and it's like, yep, you're 28 years old, you peaked in high school, you're pissed off, and you never progressed past a certain point in your musical tastes. I had to keep progressing, not so much in my personal music taste, because if you go in there's rancid vinyls, there's no effects music, but I understood that those bands that we bring on Warped Tour sing the same way, passionately, to those bands sang to me. Those bands like A Day to Remember or Pierce the Veil, or these bands sang to those kids. And now it would be neck deep. And all Warped Tour was that platform. It wasn't built for, I did my old punk show when I did It's Not Dead, got all the old punks together. They needed their show. But I'm excited about the future. I'm working on this this opioid initiative that we launched.
I saw that one.
We've got over 4,000 people download the app in the first month.
Full energy, not drugs, right?
Yeah, full energy, not drugs, and that's the education side. The canned food drives that we do in front of shows. Maybe I'll have that energy to actually encourage some of these bands to do some of this stuff that we do on Warped Tour in their everyday lives. And I know some of them are. You're starting to see more tables at shows for registering people to vote. It shouldn't just be Warped Tour, it should be bands every day, because back when I worked in the clubs, we were doing benefits all the time. We did the first pro-choice benefits, the Rock the Vote benefits. We were doing a benefit in LA we had a great community back then. Chili Peppers, Jane's Addiction, Beastie Boys would do shows. We'd do all these benefit shows together to try to make our community better.
What do you think is the main difference with music now? Is it there's many people, people aren't given enough chance, or the proper chance.
It's hard to make a living in music, to be honest. I mean, it's
because like you were saying, when we're growing up, when I was growing up, I had No Doubt, 311, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and now I enjoy the music, but I'm not going to ever consider it classic like that. I mean, maybe in 10 years I will, but
we all get stuck in a certain phase of music that we love, that emotionally touches us. And, to be honest, I'm having a harder time. I can find good new music. I love this new band, Youngblood, coming out on Warped Tour this summer.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I know that. I heard them. They're on Alt Nation.
Yeah, they're already on Alt Nation.
Yeah.
They'll be out on Warped Tour this summer already. We kind of working with them. Things like that, but mostly, this last Warped Tour is going to be kind of people I like to tour with. I think we're selling tickets to a lot of people who it was a good point of their life and they want to come back and enjoy it one more day. Bitter people can go to some of these other festivals.
Yeah.
There's lots of millions. There's so many good festivals now. You can go to there's these punk rock and taco festivals, punk rock and beer festivals going on all around. Those are cool.
Talk to me a little bit more about Fend.
Fend is traveling the country, and for me, a lot of the nonprofits that I've got involved with have been something that, the blood drives we've done at Warped Tour. When I heard there was a shortage of blood, someone brought that idea to me, and we worked with for many years having those blood drives. Canned food, the food banks are short during the summertime. That's when they have the least amount of food. So by letting people skip the line by bringing 3 cans of food, we're able to put 2,500 to 3,000 pounds of food a day into those food banks when we come through town. Warped Tour, because we were known as the punk rock festival, and punk rock was always such a negative thing, we wanted to show that punkers could come, even though we're, what is a punk rocker? Who knows anymore? But people can come to your town and leave it a little better by doing a music festival. Fend came out of me traveling around the country, and every time I do a show, there's my tent out. Everyone knows the tent in front of my bus. Everyone's gathered around. We have it's like I get a mini family reunion and update on people from each community that I know. And that topic goes to opioids a lot now. Goes to how their family's been affected. They've possibly been affected. People they work with have been affected.
I did a thesis on this, on opioid addiction. And because I was in service, I hurt my back.
Yeah, and what did they give you? Big pocket full of pills.
All they did is give me muscle relaxers and Vicodin. Yeah. And then, so I came back, the first time, I have a herniated disc in my T5 and T6. I need surgery. But I went there and said, oh, here, we're going to give you some Vicodin. Yeah. So I come back 2 weeks later, oh, is this so hurt? All right, here's some more Vicodin.
Yeah, here's some Oxycontin, you know.
Yeah, and then so then 4 or 5 times after going back, they're like, I was like, it just, after 3 days, I'm done with the whole 30 pills, and there's, oh, here's some oxycodone now. So within 3-4 months, I'm at it inside the service.
You're hooked. So, and that's the problem, because I always believe education has changed, and I just don't think we have enough education out there. And it's that whole process. And I've talked to doctors, and I've talked to people that, one, we had big pharma, that encouragement, the whole Purdue pharma thing of just giving you pills. But then, I say it starts with education, and Warped's always been about education. So this app kind of we took gamification, making it fun to learn, because we all like playing games now.
Yeah.
You go to Vaughn's to get some Monopoly cards, it's like, so having this app, people can learn and win rewards at Warped Tour, acoustic sets. We've been giving away prizes each week to continue learning. And losing that process, we've had 4,000 people download it. And I'm finding that it's really, we just don't know about it, because your doctors are in a hurry, so they're writing you a prescription. They don't get to spend a lot of time explaining the addictive qualities. You're supposed to then go to the pharmacy, and it says, have you been consulted? Now, how many people, when there's 5 people in line behind you, are going to sit there and really get educated on something? You're like, fine, we sign.
Yeah.
And you know what?
And you're already irritated.
And now we're learning that, in 5 days, the chemistry of your brain can start, for opioids, can start changing. So addiction process starts within 5 days. Can start in about in a certain segment of our population, 20-25% of the people. Other ones don't process opioids well. They get sick. They don't use them. They maybe know enough information. My daughter, when she got her wisdom teeth pulled, they gave her 15. Then she got a dry socket. She goes, Dad, I knew that you've taught us enough that I couldn't keep taking these, even though they were wonderful. She said they were wonderful. But luckily, we've had that discussion at dinners and as I got into this. So it's just taking it out. There's multi-phases. There's so many things going on with it. And, I'm hoping to take it to recovering people in the future and be able to work within the recovery community, using this process of rewarding people more often for staying sober versus your 1 month and 1 year, those kind of anniversaries. If I can blend this in with corporate America, where maybe on a Friday, because you showed up at your job all week, you had to your meetings, your spouse says you've done your normal stuff, you're getting points each day. And on that Friday, I can send you a couple concert tickets for the weekend, or maybe a Starbucks card, and I think that shorter process of rewarding people, because that process takes every minute for people to be able to stay sober.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had like big problems on tour
not
with,
really,
with artists?
But we travel with a counselor. We have a
Good.
person
That's
on
what
the
I was
road.
gonna. That was my next question.
We have meetings every night backstage. We've been doing this for about 8-10 years now. So these are things I've learned on the road, and in some ways, I look at it as, I wish I knew all this information, all this education back in 1995, and a lot of it that drives it is Brad Knoll from Sublime was on our tour, and he was suffering addiction. I didn't have the tools to help him. I wasn't trained in all this. I wasn't trained in all this kind of thing. I've had to learn on the go, and that's what I continue to do.
Yeah, I mean, and addiction's really affected the music industry.
Like I said, microcosm of society. It affects it because the show must go on. The show must go on. So injuries you get on the road, you want to keep working, whether you're a roadie, get a knee replacement, got ankle rebuild. Someone hands you pills, gets you through the day. You don't know. You just keep going. Look at our Prince died with fentanyl in his system. Tom Petty had fentanyl in his system. Michael Jackson had fentanyl. They were taking that so they could keep doing their commitments. When you take an artist, take all the pyramid of all the people that support that artist. And we have show must go on. So now, it's just, I don't know. I just keep doing what I'm doing. And, like I tell people, I'm just going to run out of time at one point. That's what people, that really, if you're driven to a certain thing and anything, and I'm driven in different ways, I'm just going to run out of time, And
what does drive you? Like, what is the end goal of this? Like, when you're dead, what kind of legacy do you want people to know you?
I utilize my time well on Earth, we don't want to get into politics right now. That would probably take up the rest of this interview. And I do have to go down and get my new driver's license. And I had to have, the 12 pieces of information you have to give them at the DMV now to get a driver's license. But, I don't know what drives me. You know, I go back and interesting. You know, I was adopted, and you know, I've had people who raised me and went out of their way to raise me. You know, I was adopted. There was a reason I was adopted. I don't know why, but the people who raised me, my parents who raised me, they went out. They stepped out to help someone, and that's what I've always felt like. We can help each other. You know, which is, I guess, because I've stepped out. If you step out, it makes you a target, and I think people have to realize that it's okay to step out. That in this world of social media, that not everyone's going to be your friend, not everyone's going to like you. You're going to be attacked because you stand for something. You can't stand for something and not be attacked anymore.
At all.
You know?
And no matter what you put online, like, I had a great day today.
Yeah.
If you don't put a space between had and a, then they attack you. Like, it's always, it really feels that no one, like, I remember when I was growing up, there was things I thought, but I didn't say. Now it doesn't seem like there's that filter anymore. Like, because people more brave.
We've given everyone a platform. It goes way back to the internet. It was a book that came out right when the internet was taking hold. It was called WWW. It was called Worldwide Whiners. I think it was the one best book. We gave everyone a platform. When that platform used to be the guy at the end of the bar, and I actually even saw something. They were comparing they were comparing Trump to the guy at the end of the bar in a story yesterday I was reading. And that was what you gave the person at the end of the bar, and the only person that had to listen to him was the bartender. Now we all have to listen to everyone, you know? So,
Yeah.
So, you know, but, you know, everything's cool. Everything's going, you know, full throw, like, you know, full energy. Move on, you know?
On your journey with, you know, the Warped Tour, and your father, is that at all hard to keep a relationship while you're doing what you're doing?
You know, it was, but that's what kind of kept me going. As I started to tour with less peers, when I first started Warped Tour, those bands were my friends. Those were the people we grew up. We were having children together. Brad Knoll's son is 16 days different than my daughter, you know, and he didn't get that chance to spend this and watch them grow into who they are. My daughter's out at Coachella helping run catering right now, you know. Not that I want her to go in this business, but, you know, she's using those opportunities. But the last 5 or 6 years, as I'm now either a mentor or disciplinarian, because I'm not, you know, I'm touring with people that are 20. I can't be, you know, I can have those moments, you know, I pick a couple key moments to have fun at the barbecue with everyone, but I'm trying to keep myself together to be on this show, or to keep the show going, because it's important to get it up and doors open. Because, you know, Warped Tour, you got to be there right at doors, or you're going to miss bands within minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm driving that crew and people to keep that show going. I've been able to tour with them. They've been able to come on the road with me, and it's fun. They work really hard. They get no favors. I think when I first brought Sierra the first time, people thought, oh, and then they realized that she's as hard a worker as I am. And then now my daughter Sabrine's been able to go on the tour with her, and maybe that's why I kept it going. I don't know, for so long, because she had some things going on in her, and it really helped her become who she is, a strong woman, young woman. So it's been a family thing. It's been great. But you know what? I've been on the road now for 27 summers between Lollapalooza and Warped Tour. This will be it. And then, you know what? I owe my wife a trip to the Canadian Rockies, because I've been able to spend a couple days off in the summertime there. I want to go spend some time up there and enjoy all the outdoors and all the things I've seen with her.
After Warped Tour is over, do you have that whole fall to yourself?
Oh, no.
Or are you working too?
I'm so busy right now. I'm so busy. The fall is, and I'll be making an announcement soon. And if we end on August 5th, and another phase of my life will start about August 21st.
You excited?
Super excited right now. Super excited. Super managing a lot of things. The Fen movement. I'm consulting to a lot of brands. I work with companies. I had that St. Archer brewery that I was involved in.
Yeah. Talk to me about the Boombox wine.
Oh, Beatbox Wine.
Beatbox Wine.
Beatbox Wine. Helping those guys.
That was cool.
I'm helping those guys right now with Beatbox and building their music strategies, and I'm working with different brands to build their music strategies, using that knowledge that I have from so many years.
Who is your teacher?
Well, my teacher, you know, I think it's so funny in our industry. I look at people like there was Bill Graham and Bill Silva and some of these people that I respected, and then we had so many bad examples in our business. I probably learned from bad examples more than anything, but then, you know, Gary Tovar, who started Golden Voice, you know, some of his lifestyle things and the things that he was doing probably weren't, but watching the way that he felt that the fans were so important, and giving them value for their money. We instilled this. And if you look at it, Paul Tollett, who runs Coachella, myself, who does Warped Tour, probably the two largest touring festival, largest standalone festival. We learned something from this man, Gary Tovar. So he deserves a lot of credit.
Are you religious or spiritual? Are those meditation beats?
These are meditation beads.
Yeah, me too. Look at it.
Mostly passed on from other people.
Oh.
They think I need stuff.
Do you use it?
I believe that just treat people right. I don't know why we have so much problem just treating people right and respecting other people. It's respecting, and that's what got me through it, because when I was starting off in my career, respect the guy in the parking lot, respect the guy at the back door. Those kind of things, they're doing their jobs, and I've watched people treat the security guards bad because they're, this. It's always come back in my life, For many years, the guy who parked the cars at the Hollywood Palladium when I was working every night, I bring him extra food sometimes, just to make, everyone would fight with the parking guys. We always fought with the parking guys in LA. I made friends with the parking lot guy. And you know what?
I'm guilty of that, man. I'm just going to be honest.
That parking lot guy turned into the parking lot guy at Staples Center. And guess what? He was running the valet parking at Staples Center. And when I had my 91 4Runner truck and I walked out of a game at Staples, it was warmed up in front of all the Ferraris. I had the front row. Everyone looked at me like I was crazy, because who's the guy in the beat up truck?
Yeah.
And no, just things like that. Or it helped me once on a mortgage. It was like really weird. Things that come back in life. It comes back whether you're good or bad. And it's basic business. On the way up, the people treat you away. And if you need help, and I don't go after help, but anytime I need it, people seem to want to be there to help out. This opioid initiative, I'm getting so many people calling, how do I get involved? How do I help? And it might be a personal issue, it might be influence, but they're like, Kevin, we believe in what you're doing. And now I'm just trying to rein it all in, because we got to make sure it goes really well with Warped Tour this summer, because we're using it as a test model for the future.
Man, you yourself, I mean, I understand. Like, I feel your love for humanity, for music at the same time. And very few people that I've come across in my life that I'm like, damn, I want to be that. I want to help people. I grew up in the church,
Yeah.
And every time I see like people holding signs about you need to be saved by Jesus, like the real sign that we need to be holding up is don't be assholes.
We need to be saved by each other.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we need to be saved by each other.
And who cares what you believe in, or your personal relationship with whatever creator that you believe there is.
And
but we are all we have at this moment.
We are. We truly are who we have. It's going to be the responsibility of some of these people, Zuckerbergs of the world and things that have given these platforms. They're going to really have to step up here, because for everything that they've done maybe in the space of good, for everything there's a positive and a negative. And right now, we're going to have to straighten this out, because we are alienating each other through the media, through social media, that people are going to really have to step up and go, how are we going to bring people back together? And usually to me, that means being willing to talk to people with differing opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have differing opinion nonprofits, and I get attacked for having someone with a different opinion because I go, that's what we need. We need to be, and I go, ultimate differing opinion on Warped Tour was when we had Spam and PETA,
Yeah.
So we need those kind of opinions, and then we form our own right opinion. But unless you listen to other opinions, that's why I watch Fox News, I'll watch CNN, I'll read 20 websites, and then I can come up with my truth.
Do you think the problem that why we have the problems that we do, not necessarily for social media, but as the way that we're structured as a world with being consumers, and no matter what, it's always got to be the consuming.
It's always what's right for our moment. We're not voting as a society that's better for all of us. When we go back to the me generation or different things like that. So we all have to start looking at, we're on this planet together, how are we going to get to that next phase? And the baby boomers, I've read every book they're possible. I think I'm done reading books. I understand. I'm done reading books. I'm reading books about drug dealing again, because I always found that fascinating, all the way the cartels worked and some of the ways that those businesses were run, because they're some of the smartest business people in the world, really, when it comes down to it. But went into that, but watching just this process of people saying, how could someone vote for this person? You have to be willing to put yourself in their shoes, and that's through education. So I think I could understand that. Now, we have to understand each other to come to a betterment for all of us. And I think 90% of the people, 95% of the people on Earth just want to live a peaceful life.
Yeah.
You know, and I just don't know where we're at right now with the drums of war. Because you know what, the drums of war, the global economy is so tied together. So if we decide to go to war, no one's going to win this war.
We've been at war since 2002.
I know, but no one's going to win the war if they start pushing buttons on each other.
No, enough. No one wins. Not one person on Earth.
A minute, and I don't know if you were deployed or where you were.
Afghanistan.
But we go back to that, and that was where our public was misled to follow into war. You know,
and we don't talk about it no more.
And some people would say to me like, "Oh, you're anti." I'm never anti-military. I understand why people go into the military. The understanding of the soldier, of course. It's what our leaders do with the soldiers that I may not agree with a lot of times.
And I just came. I didn't. You know, my mom wasn't around, and we had a poor family, and so I had no other choice.
It gave you opportunity, and I understand that opportunity. Those opportunities, you know, and I meet it across the country and where people are going, and you know. And then there was a moment in time where we stopped working because when we became a warrior nation again, and the military, there was always this balance. Could they come out and recruit at Warped Tour? Could they come out and not recruit? And I've never been pro, you know, but I understand the opportunities of the military, but they also had to tell the truths. So sometimes when they started using video games at one point to try to recruit people, there was this moment in time, and I said no more. If you want to show the opportunities of joining the military, but now you need to start showing the potential, and that would be
not video games.
A funeral. And that would be a full processional funeral, and then you can make your decision. You know,
because those recruiters, they'll tell you anything.
They'll tell you anything.
I got lied to.
You know.
I mean, I'm not bitter about it because it took me out of the life I would have led if I didn't go.
But you know, this time we needed to get ourselves to this point to move forward as society. It's got to get to this point to get better because it really can't. We will not exist if it just keeps perpetuating this way. We won't.
I know.
So, all right. Well, on that bright note, let's all go out and come out and enjoy the punk rock show for one last time this summer. You know?
I got one more question for you. What makes your heart pump? And I know you're going to go to music. You're going to say working, or you might think working because you love it, and it's cool. But when you need to be Kevin and be selfish.
Oh, my selfish side, fishing.
Fishing?
Gardening, cooking. My wife says cooking's your selfish side because there's only 2 of us right now at the house, and you cook for 8 every day.
I do the same thing.
You know,
I'm Italian, so I have to cook a lot.
I love cooking, fishing, gardening. Fishing's a real passion. Golf, I've enjoyed.
Where do you like to fish?
Oh, I'll fish anywhere. And I've been very lucky to fish. Because what happened was we would try to play golf on Warped Tour, and it was always so hot on those days off. And one time it was NoFX and Green Day and Bad Religion, and we were all playing, and we almost died of heat stroke up in Nebraska in the middle of August. And then I started to actually, you know, when I started to make a little bit more money, and I'll never have a boat because my family gets seasick, and I love the ocean, and I always loved being in the water or on the water, that I started meeting fishing guides around the world because I would rent a boat and bring people fishing on the tours and on those days off. And we've been fishing everywhere in the world. I got to go to the Amazon this year.
You did?
Yeah, and it was.
Did you fish there?
Oh yeah, 7 days.
What'd you catch?
Oh, peacock bass, giant bass. It was so much fun, and that was through music, and I was just very excited. 3 days ago.
Did you see the monkey spiders?
I just got invited to be on a big fishing tournament on a team that will be fishing off the Bahamas for 3 days coming up before tour.
Nice.
I'm actually a member of that team. So, that's led me to enjoy and get some things that I never expected growing up. Grew up and we were a typical middle class family. When I realized what he raised 4 adopted kids on, how he made every dollar stretch. But he also taught us to work. I had 2 jobs since I was 11 years old. And continue to work. And now I have like 19 jobs, which is killing me. But it's all good. Everything's good. I look at I was sitting with my wife and go, the complaints that we have sometimes, and we go, you got to allow, you stop. You just can't complain because we're totally blessed. I got to do so much. I've got to bring a show to all 11 million people. 11 maybe more. We've sold 11 million tickets. We've been to 20 countries with things like Warped Tour. I was able to do Taste of Chaos, Sprite Liquid Mix Tour, country tours. Oh brother, where art thou? You go through it now, and you go, wow, this was the guy who loaded everyone's trucks at the clubs. And I said, and that's what I want to inspire people. You can get there. You can do this.
Well, Kevin, you're one of the better people in the world.
Oh, thanks, appreciate it. We'll see you in
Thank you so
Ventura
much.
for sure.
See you in
Now you're
Ventura.
gonna have to come out and help out at the volunteer day.
I'm gonna come.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you if I could.
Yeah,
but I
absolutely. We'll be able. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what we do. Like we have a show called Red Light District Show, and we give to our community. We use it we tell everyone this is a tool for your community. Also, No Cover. We help other bands and we educate them on how to
Yeah, it's great to see No
promote
Cover
themselves.
still doing this after so long. I know it's not easy.
No,
No, it's not easy.
it's no.
The passion project.
I know we don't.
Cool.
We all just love it. But thank you so much,
right.
Kevin. We really appreciate it, and we're gonna put this on the June magazine.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. And hopefully, do you guys need some waters or anything for the drive home? Or